How does the world end? We've all thought about it before. We've all wondered about it. Hell, I bet more than a few people have even gotten into screaming matches about it. Some said the answer was world war. For one stupid reason or another, the major powers would declare war, and we'd all die in a storm of nuclear fire. Others believed the answer was a supervirus, a plague created through natural selection or scientific curiosity, immune to all medicine and completely incurable. I bet most people were like me, though, and didn't give the question much thought. Nobody put it on the same level as the meaning of life or what happens after death. But we should have. If we had, we might have been prepared for when we finally got the answer. It was Thursday, September 26th. No, it was Thursday, October 27th. No. Or was it Thursday, December 31st? Whatever. Not like the date matters. What matters is that on Thursday, the question was answered. There was no warning, no sound. When it struck, no one screamed, no one panicked. They just died. In an instant, the world fractured. Reality ripped and cracked like canvas and glass right before our very eyes. From these fractures, we saw what was on the other side of reality. It was everything ever conceived, every sound, every shape, and every sensation. It was loud, vibrant, and alive. It was like we were holding the world in the palm of our hand. But at the same time, it was nothing. Featureless, colorless, mute. Trying to touch it was like trying to catch smoke with nothing but your bare hands. Then from those tears and cracks, from that null, came the creatures. They oozed into our world like slime or clawed their way to freedom like rabid animals. Some were like titans, creatures of large stature and even larger size. Others were small, barely bigger than the width of a hair. The shapes they took were like a child trying to describe how humans and animals looked to someone who didn't even speak the same language. One of the first people I'd met, who was still lucid enough to speak, showed me a collection of pictures he'd taken of the things. He showed me ones that he claimed looked like giant snakes, crabs, lions, and people. But they looked nothing like that. I wouldn't even know how I'd begin to describe the ones he'd shown me. But one thing's for sure, they did not look like animals. No, they were something else entirely. The creatures themselves weren't malicious or evil, at least not intentionally. Most of them just seemed sad, like a dog locked outside of the house. Some seemed to always be crying. Others looked like they're praying at the no, begging to go back. The rest just wander in search of a meal. Thankfully, there are plenty of corpses for them to get their fill. Though, once all the dead are gone, I don't know what they'll do. But they didn't end the world. No. Whatever hitched a ride when they came over or brought with them did. Death struck first. Nearly everyone died where they stood. Human, animal, and plant. I found an old man in his house, standing in front of the mirror with a razor in his hand. His eyes were cloudy and his skin was cold as ice. It was like he died, frozen in time. In an old school, I watched the shadows of students and teachers go through the same motions every day. only there were no bodies to cast them on the walls and pavement. It was like someone had recorded a shadow puppet play and left it run on a loop, only there was no TV, repeating the same actions from the day before reality fell apart. In the wilderness, I found a valley filled with corpses all sharing the same face. Some of them were decomposing, others were getting fresher by the day. I could even see flesh growing on some of the skeletons. God, I get sick just thinking about it. But all that paled into comparison to the second thing they brought. Madness, insanity, mania. It goes by a lot of names, but none of them are accurate. Do you know what it looks like to sing with the devil, to dance with the demons as the angels cry? I do, and I can't forget, no matter how hard I try. That's just what happened to the unlucky few that didn't die. They turn on their friends, their families, themselves. Anyone and everyone who was still standing, regardless if they were dead or alive. Humans would dance among the carnage, animals would bathe in the blood, and plants became something else entirely. A few stayed sane, but even fewer survived its aftermath. I am one of those people, I think. Sanity is relative when the rules of reality don't apply anymore. And still, the worst was yet to come. Turns out, there's a 10th circle of hell, my friends. It reared its ugly head, and reality got a new set of rules. Time lost all meaning. Up was down, left was east, and right was south. Heat froze and room temperature burned. Calendars didn't change, but none of them had the same date. Clocks kept ticking, but they didn't tell time. The sun kept rising, but it never stopped. I managed to avoid the worst of it for a while, giving me enough time to adapt. Got lucky when it all went down. Was out in the mountains all alone. All alone. The terrain changed on me every day, but somehow I made it out. I looked for my family, but I never found them. Considering what was left of my neighbors, that was probably for the best. By some miracle, enough of the right people survived so that society didn't collapse. A few military generals rallied the troops and reestablished order, and a dozen or so politicians brought the people back together. After 2 years, life found itself a new track and just kept moving forward. Or, wait, was it 2 months? No. Days? Hours? Seconds? Wait. How long even is a second? Honestly, I don't know. The country has shrunk significantly. Everyone left in America lives in one city now. At least, I think I'm in America. We work every day just like before. The only difference is that we don't work for the future. We work just to keep going. We work because it's the only thing that makes sense anymore. It gives us the only semblance of control we have left. Keeps our feet on the ground, relatively speaking. Not like we need the ground if we want to walk. But maybe it's better this way. No one gets sick anymore. I don't even know if we can get sick. There's no more fighting, no more war. Not like there's anything left to fight over. Or maybe it's all worse. How do you compare the world when 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4? When fire isn't hot? When infinity has an end? When dead isn't death? Sometimes I wonder if it's even possible to compare.